Everyone, we're here for another quick conversation for the long haul of leadership with Tod Bolsinger, and we're going to talk about a quote from Gayle Beebe. This is from episode 220, Leading Through Tragedy, Adversity, and Crisis. And here's what Gayle Beebe said. He said, "You have to stay emotionally present to the organization, to the people in the organization, to the mission of the organization, so that you can make adjustments that actually allow you to prevail." And I'll read it one more time. You have to stay emotionally present to the organization, to the people in the organization, to the mission of the organization, so that you can make adjustments that actually allow you to prevail. And this was in the context of a lot of crises that Gayle, who's the president of Westmont College, had to lead through over his time. I think the last 17 years or so that he's been at Westmont. And so, Tod, here's the question. He talks about being emotionally present. What do you think? What do you think it means, or what do you think about the fact that a president of a university would be emotionally present?
Yeah. It's actually such a great quote because I only met Gayle once, and he was an incredibly generous person to me. And he happens to be the president of my wife's alma mater. So we keep connected to Westmont.
Nice.
One of the things that you realize is the great temptation for institutional leaders, especially as they grow, is to believe that somehow you have to stay out away from the crowds, right? You gotta get some distance from them so that you can make hard decisions. What he's basically saying is the more difficult the challenge, the closer you need to get to people. Which to be emotionally present means that the people who, as Scott Cormode, our colleague, would say, have been entrusted to your care, feel like you care for them. Like they feel felt. That's the phrase that sometimes is used in language. People need to feel felt. In emotional intelligence language, they'll use that. So what it means is, before you make decisions, make sure that you are so close to people that you understand and can empathize with them, and they know that you've been as close as possible. And then a lot of times you'll need the differentiation of being able to say, yet I still have to be as emotionally present to our mission. That's he mentioned that as to each individual. That's a difficult place to be, but neither one of them happens well. You do not make good decisions by disconnecting. It actually requires you to grow closer to the people.
I hear a little bit of balcony and dance floor.
Right.
The emotional presence would be the dance floor.
Exactly. Right. So when we talk about this is the work of Marty Linsky and Ronald Heifetz. When they talk about you listen on the dance floor and you look from the balcony. So I would say leadership is exhausting. You've got to get perspective up on the balcony, but you've got to go down and be close to people and experience the swirl and the chaos and feel the energy, and then go back and forth. In the little book I wrote called Leading Through Resistance, I talk a lot about how attunement accelerates change. How when you get close enough to people where they know you understand and you are connected to them emotionally, even if they don't agree with the decision that you might have to make for the mission up on the balcony, they will trust you enough to usually walk with you further. And then we can stay in this conversation longer.
That's good. And when I read this quote, part of my thought also was, if you're leading through a crisis, the kind of crises that he's had to lead through, fires and floods and just sort of destruction and loss of life at Westmont College, there's a lot of your own emotions also, staying attuned to your own what's the word I'm looking for? Your own staying connected to your own emotions, emotionally present to yourself. Maybe talk about that as well in terms of being able to lead through crisis or through challenges.
So I was one of my coaches was a guy named Jim Osterhaus, and he taught me when you are in the middle of crises or in the middle of a hard decision to make or anything happening in an organization, everything within you starts flooding about yourself. I want to take care of myself. I want to look good. I want them to think I'm competent. It's I. What you actually have to do at that moment is ask yourself, what's your job? What's my mission? It's not about me. It's about my mission. So you've got to be able to go from what they call red zone, where it's all about you, to blue zone, where it's all about the mission.
Yeah.
The only way you do that, though, is by acknowledging, hey, I'm anxious, I'm worried, I don't want
Yeah.
to look bad. Like, it's once we
Yeah.
acknowledge those things honestly, then we
Right.
can say, nevertheless, what's the decision I have to make?
Yeah.
The danger is people who are trying to fake it.
Yeah.
They're acting as if they are
Right.
fine when internally they are so anxious that they're making really bad decisions.
Right.
If I'm really more worried about how I come across in a blog post or in a tweet than I
Right.
am about the person sitting in front of me who has need,
Yeah.
well, then I'm probably not going to attend to the person sitting
Yeah.
right in front of me.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Let me read the quote one more time. And it's a great interview for those of you who maybe are leading through really challenging times. Episode 220, Gayle Beebe. He said, "You have to stay emotionally present to the organization, to the people in the organization, to the mission of the organization, so that you can make adjustments that actually allow you to prevail."